Well, hello there. So, I came up with this idea about a streetcar system, an automatic one. So, I've already had one question on how I did it. And, well, let's see. I have created myself a little flat area here so it'll be easier to lay track and stuff. And I'll kind of go through the various steps of my thinking and you guys can all just take and run with it. However, well, I'm doing it with two stations, and it might be possible to do it with even two, more. You could also do it just on one double track, basically squished loop if you wanted, and we'll go over that. But the more cars you put into the system, and especially if you like have your track crossing itself, I could see that there might be some issues there unless you figure out how to do the signaling quite right, because that's another part of the system. One, each of the cars in my previous video showing the three-car system has a different schedule and, of course, a driver to make it go someplace. In my case, I'm using blaze burners just because they're much easier to work with. You kind of plop them down and they're there as opposed to trying to herd a mob onto the seat and then getting them, then giving them a schedule and off the car goes. But first, we're going to need some track to build with, and I'll lay out some samples here. I'll start by just making a basic loop and we'll talk about signaling. So, and eventually in one of these other videos down the road, I'll go over how to build the streetcars. I've actually redesigned them a bit because I thought they looked a little weird before. But anyway, so let's go ahead and build some track so you can see some of the processes that go through. Right. I'm actually working in creative mode using the create mod, and actually I play with a bunch of other people. And I didn't create the mod list, but there's a lot of mods on it. But it's a handy thing. So we're going to need some track to work with. Here's some track. We'll just bring it down here. In another video, I'll show you the machine that I made that actually builds track so that when you're in survival, it can just sit there and churn out track. It took it a couple of hours to produce a double chest full of complete stacks of track. And I still haven't used it all up in the multiplayer world that I play in. I was beginning to think about double tracking it because, yeah, a couple of players that wanted to drive the trains around, and I haven't had signal so far, but we had a big, huge accident the other day. And you can actually die in a train crash. I want to put in signals, but I'd like to automate it too, because then you don't have to, run around and try to figure out who took the train and where it is. But first, anyway, back to the thing at hand. So we have the track. We're going to also need a train station. I'm going to need a train casing. And I'll explain more about how these all fit together down the road. Here's a train signal. We're going to need train controls. We're going to need train doors. Actually, we won't need the door. Well, yeah, we won't need the doors right now. But we'll keep all this, and we'll need some blocks to build with. So we'll just use some of Do, 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 do. We'll use some of these. Okay. Well, let me make it day again. Okay. Let's build some track. It's really quite easy to lay the track. I mean, you have to have a couple of stacks around. It will automatically, if you have like 3 stacks in your toolbar, it will automatically just keep taking from the stacks as you go. But this is creative, so it doesn't matter. You can have one and just build. So we're gonna just I think we'll start here. Nope, I don't like that. It's too close to the edge. Let's go over here a little bit. Okay, if you hold down, in my case, the right mouse button, it will go into continuously laying. Now you can only go so far, and like, it's basically 32 units until you get sort of a colored warning on the ground saying you're near the end of how far you can go. And you'll see that again here in a moment. Actually, let's make it um because if it's dark, you can see what I'm talking about. See how here we have different colors on the ground? I'm going to run out 32 blocks. It will come back. And there it is. You see a little tab there? If you get the little tab, you know you have straight track. If you go off to the side, the tab goes away. But if you have the tab, you know you're going in a straight line. I'll show you from a different angle. Okay, now let's go around. I'm going to start by building an oval. Back up a bit here. I'm going to take off a few of these, and then we'll try to connect this up to that. If it doesn't tell you can connect, it won't work. Now, if you're going to lay some track, lay some track here, and you decide, oh, I don't want to, you can just crouch and click, and now you're not selected anymore. Anyway, so now we have an oval of track. Let's start with a station, because you need a station to build a train. The first way this works is that you have to set the station down, but you have to put where the station stop is. So you get this little square with sort of is kind of like a line with an arrow pointing, and that's the direction the train is going to go. So let's click there, and then we'll put the station right here. Now, I'm also going to put down, oh, I forgot one part. Nixie tubes. They're really kind of handy. You put these down on top of the train, on top of the signals, and then you get uh, clear and stop semaphores. Oh, I'd better get a couple blaze burners. Here's a blaze burner. Okay, so here we have our station. I'm going to go ahead and put some signals down. Now, signals kind of work the same way. You have to put where it is that you want the train to stop. So we'll put one out about here. And then depending on which way you're looking, see now it's the signal for going the opposite direction. And now it's going the same direction as the station. So we'll put one down here, and we'll put the signal actually a little bit in front of it. You can see that it's blinking. That means I'm active. Let's plop Nixie tubes on top. It's kind of like I'm the only signal right now. So let's go over here. Oh, further right before this curve, let's put down another signal right here. And you see how now there's this yellow line. This is the controlled block. And this is the uncontrolled block. And the train will just go around, stop at the station, and come back to this one. Let's put the Nixie tubes on top of this here. Now you can see that one's not blinking anymore because now there's actually two signals on the line. And I'll go over in another video how you build these various parts. You go put down another signal here, going the same direction. And we'll put down the actual signal. We'll put the Nixie tubes. And now over here, well, about here I think, let's put down another station. That's going the same way. Station. And right here out in front of it, we'll put another signal and put the tubes on top of it. And over here, let's put another signal right here. And the lamp has to be, where you can see it. Now, it doesn't matter if you have an automatic driver where the the actual semaphore is relative to the train, because it's going to stop it will stop at the point where that is, not where the signal actually is. Now let's put one last signal right here. This is basically for aesthetic purposes, or if you're going to drive the train yourself, it's handy to have these. Okay, we have an oval track with 6 signals and 2 stations. Let's build a train. So to build a train, you go to a station, the hello station, right click the station, and there are a couple of things you kind of need to do. just when you set them down, they would default to being named track station. But there's this little slanty line. Click on the little slanty line. Now we're going to change the name of the station, and we're going to make this one be Woof. And then hit return, and it takes it. Now this station is called Woof. Let's go over to the other station, and we'll call this station RAR. Now we have two different stations on this loop. Let's go back here. Now let's build a train. Create a new train, and I'm going to close the window. But now we have our train casing. Looks like a brass casing, but it's actually a train casing. It's a little more complicated to make. We'll cover that in another video. And you'll note in the middle of the track, there's like some blue on the ties. We're going to just, for purposes of this one, we're just going to build very simple little one-truck trains. Here's our truck. I forgot to keep my wrench handy. Here's my wrench. Now, the trucks. This kind of truck is ideal if you're going to build streetcars. I haven't figured out how to build multi-car trains, so let's leave that alone for the moment. But if you take your wrench and you right click, you get what look like steam engine wheels. But we're dealing with streetcars, so let's go with a streetcar type truck. Okay, and we'll need a platform on here. Then we're going to need a control stand, which is this one. And when you set it down, there won't be any levers sitting on it. But that's okay, because that happens automatically in a little bit. Now, the other thing that I happen to forget to have handy on me is glue. You need super glue, which I will also show you how to make in a later video. And the reason you need the glue is you've got to glue this all together or it won't assemble right. Actually, I'll show you that. So here's the station. The blue flag means that we're working on building a train. Open this again. It gives us a little rundown of that there's one bogie. And it tells you to use a train casing on highlighted tracks to create bogies. Remove bogies by breaking the block on top. Build carriages attached to one or two bogies each. Oh, yes. And then when you're done, you can click Assemble Train. But it won't assemble because it's not glued. Okay, let's glue it together. Glue, 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 glue. Oh, wait. I'm also going to put down my blaze burner. Because the blaze is going to be what's driving the train around. Okay, let's glue things together. So we'll just click this block with the glue, and we'll click this block with the glue. That takes care of everything on that level. I will click the middle one here, and we're going to go up one and glue down the rest of it. See how it's got the pattern on it? That's all glued together now. Now, if I go back to the train station and click Assemble, we actually have a train, and it's unnamed. Once again, we click on the slanty line. We can name the train, and this is important when you're trying to run multiple trains on multiple schedules. So, what are we going to call this one? Oh, we'll call it Crummet. I hit return. This train is now called Crummet. Okay. But it's not doing anything, is it? No, it isn't. And the reason is because it doesn't have a schedule yet. So let's put the super glue in our inventory for the moment. And actually, I'm going to move this into the inventory. We'll get stuff out again as we need it. We don't need goggles at this particular point in time. However, we do need a train schedule. And here's our train schedule. And the way you use a train schedule is you have it in your hand and you go like this, and then you get your train schedule. And we're going to add an action. And we'll start by going to woof, and the other stations that are around me, that are below me, are listed. But we remember that in the test one here, our stations are woof and rar. So we're going to start at woof, and we'll go to rar. And when you're dealing with multiple sections, you'll only bring up the only other stations on the track that you are actually dealing with. So there we go. We have woof and we have rar. Okay. And now we have our train schedule. And what you do with your train schedule is you hand it to whatever NPC you're going to use to drive your train, in this case, the blaze burner, and he becomes a conductor, and you can tell that because he gets a little hat. See? And off he goes. And you can see as he goes around the track, the signals change to show that that section of track is occupied. And around and around. Now, just for fun, let's build another train. And as soon as I go into this mode, the other train will actually stop and not be able to do anything because the track is busy. Okay, and now we're gonna build just another little train, just real simple, nothing fancy because this is just a demo. You can make it anything you want it to be. If you want it to look like a subway, a metro car, you can do that. It can be a streetcar or tram. I am building in a method for moving people about, which is why I'm doing that. You can also have a passenger train. The whole, all the only limit with Minecraft is what you can dream up. It doesn't even have to look like a train if you don't want it to. Okay, let's glue it together. Okay. And there's our train. So you can put these all away. I'm going to need another schedule. There's my schedule. So again, don't look at anything because if you look at something, oh, I guess I was wrong. Anyway, so What's our first station? It's woof. What's our second station? It's rawr. Okay, now we have our second schedule. But you can't give it to them until you go here, assemble the train, we're going to call it Anura. And you'll note that the other train started moving, but it can't get to us because of the signal. It's waiting at a red. Let's send this one off. And off it goes. Now, let's see. I'll build another train, and you can see how they interact with each other as the system starts to fill up. We have to wait till the station is empty again. Get all my parts back together here. And as long as we're here, let's get out another. Actually, I'm going to just grab a bunch of train schedules. You can modify the trains later. When they're in the station by simply waiting for the train to arrive in the station and then disassembling it again. Okay, one more train. And once again, do 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 do, boink boink, boink, boink. Oops. And you'll note that like everything has come to a dead stop because I'm occupying here building a train, and the game knows that everything is busy at the moment. Okay, and glue. And glue. And down. Don't be on glue when you go to assemble the train, or you will start to glue the station like that. But once again, if you duck and click, it will stop. Okay, off glue, assemble train. We're gonna call this one Fluffers. And we get out the schedule. Once again, woof and rar. And now we'll watch. Now you'll see that there's starts to get to be congestion, so the trains have to wait for each other. There is fuel involved, but I haven't seen the need to do that yet. But that's basic trains for you and a little bit about scheduling. In our next video, we're going to add another section of track with another station, and then we'll send one of these off on a different loop, but it will come back to the main station. So that's it for this quick how-to on how to do basic trains. But it is a little advanced because I haven't covered how to make the parts, but we will do that too in another video. But thanks for watching. If you like what I do, be sure to like and subscribe if you want to stay tuned for further information about how to make various trains. Thank you.